Hey there. Today I'm going to show you how to get Sonic Groove up and running on your Steam Deck inside of SteamOS. And you can see here I've got it displayed within gaming mode. And this is sort of the end result of the installation process with the Linux version. As an option, you too can do this. If you get a hold of the Linux version, you can extract it inside of SteamOS in desktop mode and install it. And then I walk you through the steps on how to assign all the artwork and make it look nice inside of the gaming UI. So here, let me just show you first it up and running, and then we'll go through how to get there and get it all set up. So here's Sonic Groove here in the main home nav. You can see I've got a nice wallpaper there. And we have an icon set as well for Sonic Groove. All that can be configured. There is a prerequisite in that you need two things installed to make that easy. There's other ways to do this, but to make it easy, you can get a hold of Decky Loader, and then there's a plugin for Decky Loader that is called Steam Grid DB, and that makes it really easy to assign various pieces of art to the different view modes inside of gaming mode or SteamOS. So let me fire it up here and we'll go ahead and get it started. So we have the main UI again, just like always, but this time it's nice and pretty on the deck screen. I am running this on a Steam Deck OLED. And here we have full access to the UI in a couple different ways. You've got the track pad that you can use the right trackpad just like a normal mouse, and you can click on stuff that way. And you can expand and collapse things just like always. And in addition to that, you can also use the back paddle buttons, the R3, R4, L3, and L4 as well. Let me go ahead and get a track in here to show you what I mean. So Sonic Groove knows how to navigate your SteamOS file system. I had to build some custom menus so that you could do that. And here I'm just browsing a folder that I typically use for music, and I'm going to get a track loaded in here. And again, everything just works like it normally does on the standalone desktop version. But with some extra features. So here I'm going to use L3 and L4 to collapse. That's L3. And then on the back, you can also use L4 to pause if you don't want to use the trackpad. In addition, on the right side back paddles, so you can do R3, and that will minimize the player, and then that does that for you. And also, you can switch modes. So here I'm using R4 to switch between streamer mode and regular play mode. So it just makes it more convenient for navigation. Next, I'll show you how you can get all this into your Steam Deck and have a fully operational Sonic Groove mobile experience. All right, so let's walk through the full process. First, I'm going to exit out of Sonic Groove here. And the best way to do that is to hit the Steam button and come over and just hit exit game, just like you normally would on anything. This is added as a non-Steam game app or a non-Steam game into your library. And pardon me, I just bumped it. Let me get out of this. All right, exit, confirm. Okay, so I'm going to actually unwind everything so that you can see the full process here. And the very first thing you need to do is go into desktop mode. So let's do that. We'll hit power, switch to desktop. And I highly recommend that you go out and get yourself a nice Bluetooth keyboard and a nice Bluetooth trackball or mouse. And it just makes everything easier for running through things like this. Keep in mind, your Steam Deck is a full-blown PC. It is a PC, so I mean, you can use this thing as if you were using a full-blown desktop system. It's incredible. So it's, you have a Linux system at your disposal, which is really cool. I'm going to minimize all this, get out of some software that I typically load, and make sure that everything is clean to start with. Close some stuff out here. So what we're going to do is, you can ignore this first part. I'm actually going to uninstall sonicgroove, and it's actually kind of good that I'm walking through this, because that way you can see the uninstall process. It's really easy. So I'm going to go to a folder. So ensure that when you're in desktop mode that you have access to your full-blown user as an admin. What I mean is, make sure that you've set a password for sudo privileges. Sometimes when you install things, the operating system asks you for super user rights, and it's important that you've set up a password inside of SteamOS first. And the way you can do that is by typing PASSWD and hit enter, and that will prompt you to set up a password for the deck user. I'm still using the main deck user here when you log into desktop mode. Always a good practice to do, especially when you're setting up software inside of desktop mode. So make sure that that is done in case you run into a barrier there with having super user rights. So I'm at the prompt here. I'm in a folder that I've already squared away with a downloaded copy of sonicgroove. This is actually an older copy, so you'll get to see me download the new copy as well, or the new version. I'm going to uninstall it first, so let's go into the folder here, and I'm going to run this uninstall script. Now, when sonicgroove is installed, it's actually installed under your home folder in a .local folder, share sonicgroove. And if I do an ls there, you'll see that there's all of the resources installed that sonicgroove needs for itself. That's where it places everything. So if I hit a path to working directory or pwd, you'll see there's the full path. Home deck, .local, share, sonicgroove. That's where everything gets installed. So what I like to do under my home folder is just do a make dir sg setup or sonicgroove install, whatever you want to call it. I call mine sg setup. I'm going to go back into there. This will be sort of your base of operations, so that you have a place where you've extracted the latest version, you have all the scripts at your disposal, and you can install or uninstall from there. So in the main archive, after you extract it, you've got a uninstall script, specifically a Steam uninstall. So if you're doing this on your Steam Deck, you want to use either Steam install or Steam uninstall. The other two scripts, just the plain old install or uninstall, are designed for regular full-blown Linux desktops. So you don't want to use those. Here on the Steam Deck, we're using the Steam versions of those scripts. So I'm going to uninstall and run that. And are you sure you want to do this? Yada, yada. Okay, so now Sonic Groove is actually uninstalled. I'm going to actually blow these folders away and files. The way you do that is just with an RMRF, and that gets rid of everything in that folder. Be careful with that command. It's very powerful. Make sure you're always in the right place when you run it. Otherwise, you will permanently delete everything wherever you are. Okay? I was in my SG setup folder to begin with, so I was safe to do that. So now I'm ready to go grab the latest version, and you're going to do that from the one of two places, either my itch page or my page under Coffee. Some people call it Ko-Fi, Coffee, whatever. That's the domain. So I'm going to go grab that and get that extracted, and I'll be right back. All right, so I got that downloaded, and now I'm going to move that downloaded archive into my SG setup folder. So stand by. I like to do that. I like to do that from the command line just because I'm used to Linux commands. You could also do that through the SteamOS UI using the Dolphin file browser in KDE. And whatever you're comfortable with doing, I'm just going to do that here. So I'm just going to move my file, Sonic Groove, and I'm going to move it where I'm located. So now I've got it moved out of my downloads into my folder, and now I'm going to extract it. All right, so I've got the latest version extracted. I can CD or change directory into Sonic Groove. And pardon my dog, she's going nuts today. I'm in the main folder where I can run the install process. So I'm going to run /steam install sh and kick that off. Now, when you run this, you're going to see a bunch of steps that you need to perform. I'm going to let you read through those at your disposal when you get the archive. But basically, it's just some reminders of things that you need to do in order to set the artwork up inside of the Steam client so that, when you're browsing, you see it and you have all the nice artwork to go with it. If you close this out and you lose track of all that information, just know that in your main directory where you extracted, there are some README files that are very helpful and go over all of that. This README Steam Deck right here is what you need to go through. And then that will help you get started. So I'm going to walk through all of that. Here, what I've done is I've installed it. So the first thing you need to do after you run that install script is make sure that you can see it. So I'm going to go to the launcher inside of desktop mode and search for Sonic Groove. And there it is. You should see an icon. If for some reason you're not seeing the app or you are not seeing an icon, my script does its best to refresh your menu system to call that up. And just a side note for other people running the main Linux install, if you're doing this on a different distribution, not a Steam Deck, but a regular Linux computer, and installing this, there's some steps and reminders in the README on how to refresh your menu system. The easiest thing to do is to reboot, or you can also restart your desktop environment to get those icons and references to show up. So now that it's there, I've verified that it's installed as far as desktop mode is concerned. If I were to click on this, it would boot up sonicgroove. I'm not going to waste time on that right now. We're going to get into the regular Steam client, but in desktop mode, so that I can show you how to assign the artwork. So again, I am in desktop mode. I already have DecuLoader installed and SteamGridDB. Both those things make this easy to do and assign artwork. Inside of Steam, you're going to see sonicgroove, and so as you can see, it's already got the artwork, and well, that's for several reasons. One, I previously installed it, so it's remembering all that cached artwork and reapplying it. When you do it, you're going to have an empty space here, and so I'm going to show you how to get all that assigned. So when you go into the game, you're going to see a blank here. You're not going to see anything here for the icon. You just hit the properties, and when you have DecuLoader and SteamGridDB installed, you got this customization section, and it makes it really easy for changing the artwork. So here we have the cover, the background, the logo, and also the wide cover. Now, my file names are slightly different. I do call it background. I think this one is actually called Hero. Steam over time changed how it referenced certain pieces of artwork for its library mode, and it's just changed, and my file name's kind of stuck with that older nomenclature, so just be aware of that. Anyway, so pretending that these are blank, you could come in here and hit change, and I'm already browsed there because it's cached that information and it knows to go there. But your artwork is located in your home folder, .local, share, sonicgroove, and then Steam artwork is a special folder within the installed stuff. And in there, you'll see all the JPEGs. But if you flip this type, you need to change to all files when you do this. And there's a reason why. It defaults to JPEG, and some of the art that I have, one piece of art in particular is better as a PNG because it has a transparent background. So for the cover, you're going to do the main grid file. That's this guy here. So you would choose grid, and that applies that. For background, you're going to just do the background file. For icon, this is where it gets different. This is where you do want to change the drop down to all files. Make sure you're in this path still. It should be, once you set it once, it'll remember. And then you can choose the icon.png for that icon. And it does a nice higher definition with a transparent background on it. And the wide cover is actually called the hero. So you want the hero file for wide cover. Again, they just changed how they reference things over time. But that's how you set up the art. Now, one thing I need to show you ahead of the art, which I forgot to go over first. When you first come in here, the app will not exist in actuality. And so you're going to come up to Steam, or actually Games, and click Add Non-Steam Game. And when you do that, you're going to search for sonicgroove. If it's not there, you're going to browse for it. And typically in a vanilla system that's never had sonicgroove before, you're not going to, like here, I'm going to actually find it because I've installed it before. No, I have it installed, so that it's not finding it. But you hit the browse button, okay? And you want to, again, go to this path. You want to go to home.local, share, sonicgroove, and in that path, you have a launcher.sh script. That is what you want to install. So you go through the click-throughs and install that launcher.sh that's located in .local share sonicgroove under your home folder. And that is the script, the wrapper script that actually launches the application inside of Steam. So that's the path that you need. And then after you set the path, you'll see it listed. You check it, you hit next, go through the steps of adding the non-Steam game, and then in your library, it's going to show up under non-Steam games if you've added that particular collection. Another trick is to go to Home, and you'll probably see it listed under Recent, or you'll see it under you'll see it under your main collections. So let's go to, you can do it so many different ways. You can go to the View Games library and search for it. You could just type it in here and search for it there. And you can see here, it's referenced in my games list because it's installed now. So I showed it to you a little bit backwards. You do actually want to add it first and then come in and associate the artwork. You won't be able to associate the artwork until it's installed. And that's when you point it to that launcher script. Again, you can go to your main list, search for it that way. You can go to collections, and I think I actually have, I thought I had non-Steam games. Well, you can do installed locally and search for it there. There's a couple ways to find it. But basically you're looking for that blank square and the word name sonicgroove. And that's what you're looking for inside of Steam. So now that that's all established, you're actually ready to switch back to gaming mode. So let's go do that. And it's here right away because I recently launched it. You won't have that. So again, you'll want to maybe hit your Steam button, go to library, go to non-Steam, and it should be listed there. If you don't have non-Steam turned on, you can set up that collection and activate that so that it will appear. But most cases, most people have that on already. It may be a default, I don't recall, but you can also use the search bar up here and go up top and call up the virtual keyboard and search for it if you have trouble finding it. So I'm going to go load it again. Now I'm going to show you another feature of sonicgroove, a unique feature that's specific to SteamOS and running it on the Steam Deck or just SteamOS desktop. sonicgroove has the ability to find your game soundtracks. So up here, you'll notice there's a button that doesn't show on the regular version of sonicgroove. It's called Steam Playlist. So if you click that, it comes up with a whole new menu system. And what this is designed to do is to discover any game soundtracks that you may have already installed. If you don't have any game soundtracks installed yet, this isn't going to work. But if you do, it has the ability to find your soundtracks and allow you to automatically establish a playlist for that soundtrack. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to hit auto detect, and it will hopefully find my main music path because I have soundtracks installed already. And if it does, great. If for some reason you're installing your soundtracks to a different location and it's having trouble finding it, you can browse here and browse for that location. But here, it automatically detected my path for my soundtracks, and I can hit scan, and it's going to scan my Steam OS for soundtracks, and it found 3. So if I wanted to bring all 3 of these soundtracks in as playlists, I can. I'm just going to do one for now. I'm going to do the Oblivion soundtrack, and I'm going to hit generate playlist, and that's going to save a Sonic Groove playlist to wherever I want. I'm going to select a save location. I already have one established called playlists under music, and I'm going to save it in here. You can see it's actually already there. I'm going to hit select folder, and it'll just overwrite the existing one. Give me a checkbox, and then I can hit close. Now the cool thing about this is now that it's created a playlist for me of my game soundtrack, I can hit import and go to playlists where I saved it, hit Oblivion, hit add, and now I have the full playlist for that game soundtrack from Steam, which is really cool. So now you have the ability to not only add your own specific music library, Sonic Groove will scan your game soundtracks for you and allow you to play them. I'm not going to play it here for risk of copyright violation, so I just want to let you know that that feature is available to you to play that other side of Steam music that you may already have installed. So that's how Sonic Groove works inside of Steam. If you've got questions, let me know. If I missed something, drop a comment. Please drop by and show your support on either my itch page or my coffee page, and I'll put those links in the description below. Thanks for your time today, and have a good one.